Concealed Wisconsin Podcast, Episode 3. Welcome to Concealed Wisconsin, a podcast about guns, Wisconsin, and you. Today we're going to give you updates on the concealed carry law and how it will affect you in the coming months. But before we go there, let me tell you a little bit about this project. My name is Andy, and I'll be hosting Concealed Wisconsin, and we're going to use this podcast to get important information and breaking news regarding the Wisconsin Personal Protection Act to you, the listener. We're providing content so you can listen to it when you'd like to, and not when we happen to be on the air. At this point, this project is what it is, and I really don't know where it's going to go from here, but we'll be doing a lot of really cool stuff and talking to a lot of interesting people about guns, carrying, personal protection, and really shaping a philosophy about carrying a gun. I'd like to take you along for the ride and encourage you to stick with us in the process. You can subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, have the show downloaded to your iPhone, your iPod, or iPad, listen on your computer, your car, or at the gym. I just hope that you'll listen and get more information about what we're doing in Wisconsin regarding concealed carry. You can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/concealed Wisconsin. In fact, we've got a subscriber contest on our last video called Fun with Reactive Targets and the Car PM9 with Crossbreed Mini Tuck for Ultimate Concealment. If you're a subscriber and leave a comment, you'll be entered into the drawing to win 5 clay target clips from SureSights Inc. that make boring paper targets a thing of the past. I'll be drawing a winner on August 1st, so be sure to subscribe today. Check out our website and our blog for breaking news, articles, and other important information. And let's see, we're on Facebook with a growing community of gun enthusiasts. We're working on setting up a Twitter feed too. So there are a lot of ways to get in contact. Oh, and wait, I almost forgot. I just set up an email list too. So if you go to our website at concealedwisconsin.com, sign up for our email list. It's in the sidebar of the website, and there you will get information on updates, but you're also going to be eligible for special information that might not make it to the website just because it's breaking news. So be sure to sign up there as well. So what's going on with concealed carry in Wisconsin? Well, as you know, Governor Scott Walker signed a concealed carry law into effect on July 8th, 2011. Now, when I say signed it into effect, I should preface that by saying the law is not in effect yet. Open carriers, you're fine to open carry, but don't get in your car yet because the law is not in effect. And for concealed carry, we're going to be waiting till after November 1st to have an effective law. Now, what does this mean to us? Well, we're going to get into some of that. But when we talk about these updates, I want to make sure that you understand that updates on a podcast are not in real time. So whatever is said here may not be accurate in the future. It all depends on what happens with the law, and we're going to try and bring that to you as it comes. But just remember that it is up to you, the listener, to make sure that you are going to the source and finding out exactly what is current. But as of July 15th, everything that's on this show should be current. Now, the signing was a historic signing. It added Wisconsin to a list of 48 states who allow concealed carry. Now, if we could just get Illinois to get with the times, which you'd think that they would, with the high rate of violent crime that they have, that they would understand the need for citizens to be able to protect themselves. But they continue to fight against concealed carry despite the evidence across the nation that it actually reduces crime. Now, before the signing in Wausau, the NRA's Darren Lassorte had some comments that were pretty encouraging to listen to, and I'm going to play them for you now. Darren, by the way, was a liaison for Wisconsin for the last previous attempts at concealed carry, and so that's why this pertains to Wisconsin.
Dan, what does this day mean to you?
It's one of the best days of my life.
What it means to me is finally the citizens of Wisconsin are going to be able to defend themselves, and that violent criminals for the first time in 130 years are going to have to think twice before attacking their next intended victim. It's good stuff.
Why are you so personally involved in this?
I was a state liaison in Wisconsin in 2001, and they shut session down 2 days early to deny us a vote on the Senate floor. That was the first time it could have passed. Then in 2003 and 2004, we had the governor's veto override that failed by one vote after a switched vote. And then in 2005, 2006, another two switched votes. Previous supporters allowed the veto to be sustained. And so we've come so close 3 times, lots of hard work. And so it's just great to finally have a governor who's willing to sign a bill that's been supported by bipartisan majorities for years here in the state of Wisconsin.
Tell me about the bipartisan support here in Washington, in Wisconsin.
Well, the Senate, I think, was the best example of it. 6 out of 14 Democrats voted for it, including every single woman in the Senate. It was a big day because right now, the way things are going in Wisconsin, there's nothing that's bipartisan. Nothing. Everything's on a partisan vote. And so to have this issue be so bipartisan really shows that the day has come, and the governor is going to be there to sign this bill and to have it finally become law.
Tell me about the tradition of the Second Amendment here in Wisconsin.
Well, it is a great gun-owning state. They have, I think, the 3rd most hunters in the country. They all shoot. They all own guns. Now it's just a matter of seeing them go out and buy handguns, because many of them have had hunting handguns or certainly hunting rifles, hunting shotguns. But now everyone I talk to is talking about going out and getting their concealed gun, because they just haven't had to think about carrying a firearm that's small enough to be able to carry on a daily basis. So this gun culture is shifting a little bit in that they're going from the long guns and the big handguns to potentially concealed carry guns. And but they're all safe. They've all had lots of experience around guns, and it's just going to be one more success story for right to carry in the country.
Our Wisconsin viewers and our listeners, they're going to see this. They're going to want to take advantage of the new law. What's next? After, of course, they'll sign it, and then what's next practically?
Well, what happens is Department of Justice for the next 4 months is going to be implementing the system, working with DOT to issue the licenses and creating the computer system and everything else. So November 1 is when we think this is going to be effective. November 1, people are going to be able to pull off the application off the internet or ask for it by mail. It's a very simple process, no fingerprints, a maximum of $50 fee, their proof of trainings, their hunter safety card, a copy of it, or whatever they have for training proof, and then they fill out the application, send it in. Within 45 days, they have to have the license issued to them. That's for the first 4 months. After the first 4 months, that initial wave of applications, they have 21 days to get that turned around. So it's a very short time frame, which is good. Just one more great component of the system. So that's going to be how people are going to be able to deal with this. The training could have taken place at any time. Some people are asking whether the training has to take effect or take place after November 1st. It doesn't. It could have taken place 20 years ago, today, or in the future.
When there's good news like this, people tend to just be happy and then there's no follow-up. But people should thank their legislators. They should thank the governor. What's the best way to do that?
They really should. Just contacting legislative offices, the people who voted for this bill, and just telling them that they did the right thing. Because sometimes some legislators, there were a number who voted for it who were on the fence. They just need to have that affirmation of knowing that there are real people out there who care about defending themselves and their families, and that they appreciate the support of their freedom.
All right, and a couple comments on the interview with Darren Lassorte. First, he gives some great updates, and we're going to touch on those in a little bit. But just a reminder at the end is to thank your legislators. We're going to get more of the updates, but I got a call from a Pete in Star Prairie, Wisconsin, who wanted to thank his legislator and the governor on Concealed Wisconsin.
Hi, my name is Pete. I live in Star Prairie, Wisconsin, and I want to thank Sheila Harsdorf, Pam Galloway, and Scott Walker on promoting and signing SB 93, the concealed carry, and just really appreciative. Thank you very much for getting it done. Bye.
Thanks, Pete, for calling the feedback hotline. If you'd like to call and leave feedback or ask a question, call 608-305-GUNS. That's 608-305-GUNS. If you do, we'll try and play your comment or questions as part of the show. Now for some updates and frequently asked questions, I'm going to point you to a blog post on concealedwisconsin.com. The link will be in the show notes of this episode, so check that out. But I've got listed a ton of frequently asked questions, as well as all the documentation for SB 93, which is now Act 35, as it is a signed law. We're going to go over to the blog here and just go through some of this information to bring you up to date. And just as a background, since the Senate passed this law on June 14th, or passed this legislation, and it was signed on July 8th, there have been a lot of questions floating around the internet regarding the contents of this now signed law. Unfortunately, many of the answers are not accurate, and the information comes packed in the form of legalese instead of plain English. At Concealed Wisconsin, we're trying to get these answers to your questions and post them in a user-friendly way that you can understand and you can share with your friends. We still do encourage you, though, however, to go out and read the law for yourself and get any legal advice from an attorney, which we are not, before you go out and strap on a firearm. Now, some of the important documentation that I want to point you to at concealedwisconsin.com is obviously Senate Bill 93 in its final version. There's a link to that PDF on the site. Act 35, the final document, is also linked on the site. There are two memorandums that were called frequently asked questions, and they were sent to a variety of different people to answer some of the questions about the legislation. One is from June 22nd, and that was to Senator Pam Galloway. It's going to describe the major provisions of the Senate Bill 93 relating to going armed with weapon, possessing or transporting a firearm, as well as electronic weapons. There's a memorandum from July 1st, which is a summary of the bill, and it includes some very important information. Now, there is also an important document that I'm hoping will get updated here soon from Wisconsin Carry Inc., and that is a brochure that they've been putting out for quite some time now, telling people not only is it legal to open carry, but here are the rules that you need to be aware of. And so please check out that link as well. Some of the things that are going to change in regards to open carry are specifically the car carry status, if that does change. And we're going to talk a little bit about that here in just a moment. So let's go through some of the frequently asked questions. And obviously, we've covered some of these with audio and with conversation, but I'm just going to go through this list. It's not a real long list, but it is important. And so we're going to start off with, when does the law take effect? And obviously the new carry law should go into effect by November 1st, 2011. What are the requirements to get a license? Well, first you need to apply through the Wisconsin Department of Justice. You have to be 21 years of age. You have to pass a background check. You have to have certified training, which could be in the form of a variety of different things. One of them is DNR hunter safety. The other one is an NRA course, of course. And you have to pay that application fee. It was stated earlier, at the beginning, there is a 45-day mandatory license issuance where you get your license in 45 days. But after things kind of settle down a little bit, the final time frame for new applications will be 21 days. So it's a very short turnaround for them to get this done. The question has been asked, can I still open carry now without a concealed license? And the answer is yes. Open carry is still legal, and it doesn't require a license, but you may not carry in your car until November 1st. Now, this is a caveat, provided that clarifications have been made on unlicensed car carry. There's been a lot of debate on car carry without a license, and not all the experts agree. Some of the law indicates that you can, and some says it needs more clarification. You need to check back for more information on this as it is clarified through the Department of Justice. Do you need a license to car carry? We need to clarify this answer. No matter what, you may not car carry until November 1st, 2011. With a license, it will be no problem at all, including the 1,000-foot gun-free school zone rule, which, if you have a license, you will not be able to go on school property, but you are not subject to the 1,000-foot rule, with the gun-free school zone. Without a license, there are still questions on whether car carry is concealed or not. So without a license, open carriers will still be subject to the 1,000-foot gun-free school zone rule, even in your car. And we need to clarify whether or not that's even going to be legal to carry in your car, as there are questions. So check back for that information. What weapons can I carry with a concealed carry license? A weapon is a handgun, according to the law, an electric weapon, a knife other than a switchblade, or a billy club. The list does not include rifles or shotguns, and so that's important to distinguish. But at this point, according to the law, we will have the ability to carry a handgun, a taser, a knife other than a switchblade, or a billy club. The list does not include rifles or shotguns. Where are the guns allowed pre-license? Well, according to the Wisconsin Carry Inc. brochure, which states a few different things, post offices, government buildings, city halls, etc. are off limits. Schools or within 1,000 feet of a school or school property, inside your vehicle, restaurants that serve alcohol, state parks and fish hatcheries, any privately owned business or residence that has posted or verbally told you no guns are allowed. Now, where are guns allowed post-license? Now, please note that neither of these lists are complete. There's always, a caveat where someone could make a rule. But post offices, police stations, prisons, jails, corrections, any place like that, they don't allow guns. And post offices, be aware that the post office is a federal building, and this is a federal law, and the penalty for taking a gun into a post office is very steep. You don't want to do that. Without a license, you will not be able to go within 1,000 feet of a school or on school property. With a license, you will be able to travel within 1,000 feet of a school, but not on the school property. Any privately owned business or residence that has posted or verbally told you that no guns are allowed. Beyond a security checkpoint at an airport, not allowed. Public and government buildings, if posted or verbally told that there are no guns allowed. Now, if I'm a Wisconsin resident and have a permit from another state, can I carry in Wisconsin without getting a license? No. You must get a Wisconsin resident license. And how long are these licenses good for? They're good for 5 years at no more than $50 for the license. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode, so thanks for listening to the Concealed Wisconsin podcast. Again, please check out the show notes for this episode at concealedwisconsin.com and visit all the links mentioned to see how you can get more involved. Concealed Wisconsin is a unique online community, and we encourage you to become part of it. Head over to concealedwisconsin.com and leave us a comment, become a fan on Facebook, or subscribe to us on YouTube. Remember, you can always listen online, download it to your computer, or take us on the go by subscribing on iTunes. Check out all the links. Thanks for listening. Now get out there and carry on.